Hi everybody, my name is Rhys Barber. I'm one of the audiologists here at Audiology Associates. Thanks for joining us for our earwax removal video today. Now this is actually my colleague's patient. There's normally another audiologist sitting to my left here, which is the lovely Mr. Taylor Green, but unfortunately he's not very well, so I'm voicing over his patients today. So what you can see is he's got this very, I did take a look at this, oh my goodness me, very, very deep piece of wax that is solidly sitting and stuck in the recess here. So he's got a fine end on here. Now this is the narrower of the two tubes. So if this is the first time you're watching wax removal, this is something called microsuction. This is where we actually suck the wax out, and we have two different diameter tubes you can use. The Zollner tube, which is the bigger tube, and then you've got the fine end, which is the much smaller tube. So what we've got here now, we're just gonna lift this section out. Now the problem is, just by looking at this wax, we can see this is really, really dry. Wax does not form in this particular part of the ear canal. So one or two things has happened. Either the patient's tried to clean themselves, and what they've done is they've pushed the wax in with a cotton bud, or what another more likely and unlikely scenario is that they've got a little bit of water in there, and this plug was originally on the outer portion of the ear canal and has gone backwards and unfortunately for them stuck really close to the eardrum. So Taylor is removing some of the excess oil here. And then we've got this super duper deep section, this rock hard piece of wax here. Now he's got to try and negotiate this out from the recess. So when we're talking about this recess, sorry, I talk with my hands, look at the mouse on the map. So basically when we're talking about this recess, what we've got is down near the eardrum, the ear canal goes along quite nicely and it flares, okay? And it flares more one side than the other, and you have sort of anterior recess, and you can have one on the posterior as well. But basically what we've got here is the ear canals come around and kind of bowed back on itself. So if you look at it from that end, it's coming along straight and then kind of dropped in. So what you end up with is this shape, kind of on the side there, all right? So what's happened is it's all wedged down in this section here. So we've got to try and pull this out of this section. Now they're notoriously difficult wax removals to do because you're working in the most sensitive part of the ear. So you're right down against the eardrum on one side, which is super duper sensitive, and you're also working against the bony portion, the osseous portion of the ear canal. So ear canals have a cartilage portion and an osseous portion, or a bony portion. Now the bony portion is practically skin almost bang on top of bone, which means that you're gonna get very, very sensitive skin. A little bit of pressure is gonna fire those nerve endings off straight away, so that it can be really uncomfortable. And you've got a piece of wax sandwiched between those two things, which you've got to get out, a bit like a game of Operation. You've got to get this out without touching the sides, which is not a mean feat to do. So fair play to Taylor Green. He's tried to adjust it using the fine end, hasn't really got very far. So he's opted to use the standard size Zollner tube to get a grip on this top section here. There's just enough of the wax poking out for him to get a good solid grip with the suction tube. So we're going to bring this around the corner. Let's give it a little bit of a wiggle. Now you can't wiggle too much because you'll wiggle it against the eardrum, which isn't particularly nice. So he's just trying to lift. He's maintaining the grip, letting the suction build in that tube so you can get a really good hold on it, and then he can bring it around that corner. He's loosened it a little bit, more oil's gone in, okay? And I can see why, because it didn't really move that much. And this has gone back down now to the fine end. But what he did manage to do was loosen it enough that when you put the oil starts to get underneath. And that's why we're just starting to see that little bit of a breakdown to that wax. We're just starting to see it crumble down into the tube. Now, there is also a piece of hair in here, which is working against us slightly, because hair in front of the suction tube means that suction can't grip onto the waxes effectively. But take a look at this. There we go. You can just see it starting to lift. Now he's starting to work on this section. We've got to bring this section here and pull it from the left to the right, and that's going to draw it out of that gap, which is exactly what he's doing here. He's drawing and lifting. So not only are you pulling across to the side, but you're slowly drawing back to yourself as well to ease it around that recess there. Is it going to come away though? And those two tiny little hairs are more of a hindrance than a help at this point. There we go. You can see the rocking motion. You can see that just tilting from side to side. There you go. It's on its way. It's coming forwards. There we go. Look at it lifting. Keep your eye on the screen, guys. It's on its way. You can see it pulling out. Now, we've hit another problem. Now we've hit top and bottom of the canal. So what do we do now? We can't lift anymore. So you can see he's repositioned now more towards that top corner, and he's just starting to bring that top corner down. There we are, now flicking now to the bottom corner, lifting up. So imagine trying to get something out of a really tightly wedged space. You kind of have to shimmy it down. So what he's doing is a little bit of a wax shimmy here. He's kind of moving top, bottom, just getting a little bit of a rock to try and walk it out of that section. There we go, it's working, it's on its way. That's what you want to see. It's a nice big pop. Look at the depth on that piece of wax, just how thick that was. You know, really, really wedged. You can see just how deep that recess is. It goes all the way to the bottom as well. No ruler shot on this one, guys. To be honest, it's not my patient, so I don't know why, but more than likely he got a bit carried away because he was so relieved to get that out just through the wax wave, forgot to record it. But you can see what a big old chunky plug that was and how difficult that was. So hats off to Taylor Green, that was a tough old one to do. Guys, thank you very much for watching the earwax removal video again today. If you do like the videos, what do? Yes, you do. You like, you hit heart, you share, you follow, you subscribe for me, that'd be fantastic. And if you thoroughly enjoy the videos, you could also consider becoming members of the channel. That way then you get to see even more videos. I know, I hear you cry. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode today. I shall see you for the next episode, but in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care, most importantly, of one another. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.